नमः। ओम गगनाम्बरसंवीताय नमः। ओम गगनामुक्तमूर्धजाय नमः। ओम वदनाब्जजिताब्जश्रिये नमः। ओम वदनेन्दुसुरतिशाय नमः। ओम वरदानैकनिपुणाय नमः। ओम वनवीरोज्ज्वलत्कराय नमः। ओम वनवासुलासाय नमः। ओम वनवीरैकलोलुपाय नमः। ओम तेजभुञ्जघनाकाराय नमः। ओम तेजसामपि भासकाय नमः। ओम विनेयानां तेजःप्रदाय नमः। ओम तेजोनयमिजाश्रमाय नमः। ओम दमितानङ्गसङ्ग्रामाय नमः। ओम दर्हासजिताङ्गनाय नमः। ओम दयार्ससुधासिन्धवे नमः। ओम दरिद्रधनशेवदये नमः। ओम क्षीरेन्दुस्फटिकाकाराय नमः। ओम क्षीरेन्दुमुकुटोज्ज्वलाय नमः। ओम क्षीरोपहाररसिकाय नमः। ओम क्षिप्रैश्वर्यफलप्रदाय नमः। ओम नानाभरणमुग्धांगाय नमः। ओम नारीसम्मोहनाकृतये नमः। ओम नागस्वादिने नमः। ओम नागभूषणभूषिताय नमः। ओम मूर्तिनिन्दितकन्दर्पाय नमः। ओम मूर्तामूर्तजगद्वपुषे नमः। ओम मूलाज्ञानतमोभानवे नमः। ओम मूर्तिमत्कल्पपादपाय नमः। ओम तरुणादित्यसङ्काशाय नमः। ओम तन्त्रीवादनतत्पराय नमः। ओम तरुमूलैकनिलयाय नमः। ओम तप्तजाम्बूनदप्रभाय नमः। ओम तत्त्वपुस्तोलसत्पाणये नमः। ओम तपनोडुपलोचनाय नमः। ओम यमसंयुतसत्कीर्तये नमः। ओम यमसंयुतसंयुताय नमः। ओम यतिरूपधराय मौनिने नमः। ओम यतीन्द्रोपासविग्रहाय नमः। ओम मन्दारहाररुचिराय नमः। ओम मदनायुतसुन्दराय नमः। ओम मन्दस्मित नमः। ओम मधुराधरपल्लवाय नमः। ओम मञ्जीरमञ्जुपादाब्जाय नमः। ओम मणिपट्टोलसत्कटये नमः। ओम हस्ताङ्कुरितचिन्मुद्राय नमः। ओम हठयोगपरोत्तमाय नमः। ओम हंसजप्याक्षमालाढ्याय नमः। ओम हंसेद्वाराध्यपादुकाय नमः। ओम मेरुशृङ्गतटोल्लासाय नमः। ओम मेघश्याममनोहराय नमः। ओम मेधाङ्कुरालवालाग्र्याय नमः। ओम मेधापक्वफलद्रुमाय नमः। ओम धार्मिकान्तर्गुहावासाय नमः। ओम धर्ममार्गप्रवर्तकाय नमः। ओम धामत्रयनिचारामाय नमः। ओम धर्मोत्तममनोरथाय नमः। ओम प्रबोधोद्गारदीपश्रिये नमः। ओम प्रज्ञाष्टजगद्र्याय नमः। ओम प्रज्ञाचन्द्रशिलाचन्द्राय नमः। ओम प्रज्ञामणिवराकराय नमः। ओम ज्ञानान्तर्भासात्मने नमः। ओम ज्ञातृज्ञादिविदुरगाय नमः। ओम ज्ञानज्ञाद्वैतदिव्यांगाय नमः। ओम ज्ञातृख्यातिकुलागताय नमः। ओम प्रपन्नपारिजाताग्र्याय नमः। ओम प्रणतार्थप्तिवाडवाय नमः। ओम भूतानां प्रमाणभूताय नमः। ओम प्रपंचहितकारकाय नमः। ओम यत्तत्त्वमसि संवेद्याय नमः। ओम यक्षगेयात्मवैभवाय नमः। ओम यज्ञादिदेवतामूर्तये नमः। ओम यजमानवपुर्धराय नमः। ओम छत्राधिपतिविश्वेशाय नमः। ओम छत्रसामरसेविदाय नमः। ओम छन्दशास्त्रादिनिपुणाय नमः। ओम छलजात्यादिदूरगाय नमः। ओम स्वाभाविकसुखैकात्मने नमः। ओम स्वानुभूतिरसोदधये नमः। ओम स्वाराज्यसम्पदध्यक्षाय नमः। ओम स्वात्माराममहामतये नमः। ओम हाटकापजटाजूटाय नमः। ओम हासोदस्तारिमण्डलाय नमः। ओम हालाहलोज्ज्वलगलाय नमः। ओम हार्दग्रन्थिविमोचकाय नमः। ओम श्रीमेधादक्षिणामूर्तिस्वामिने नमः। ओम श्री दयानंद सद्गुरवे नमः। Om Shri Maheshananda Sadgurave Namaha. So shall we do meditation? Om Pratar Hriti Samspradhatmatattvam Satchit Sukham Paramahamsa Gatim Turiyam Yat Swapna Jagara Sushuptamabhaiti Nityam Tad Brahma Nishkalamaham Nacha Bhuta Sangaha. In meditation, I pray to Ishvara to make it clear to me that Brahman, the Atma, is Kutastha. Kutastha means the anvil upon which the entire experiences of life is shaped on. Aham Kutastha. The quality of an anvil are that it is solid. solid and unmoved. And there is no effect on it by the changes that it supports. An example of the anvil, Kutastha, is the screen on which a movie is screened. The screen example is very appropriate to the Atma working as the support, the Adhara, the anvil-like character. Atma, I, should be seen as a screen for all the experiences. I meditate upon myself which is endowed with the nature of being a screen. I think about the nature of a screen. A movie cannot be projected on nothingness. You cannot project a movie in space or on a tree. The movie needs the qualities of a screen. The qualities of a screen are: it is uniform, it reflects the color, it itself is white, It holds itself steady and it is big enough for the projection. Similarly, I meditate upon the nature of the self, which is appropriate for acting as the adhara, as the support, the anvil for the experiences. The self is not blank. If it were, then like the space, it could not project a movie. It is endowed with a steady, unchanging nature. I am. Sat is pure existence. I am. It is the appropriate medium upon which the various changes can be projected. If Sat is not there, then the changes, the variations of existence, non-existence, beginnings, ends, cannot be just as on a screen you cannot have shades of light and darkness. The Atma's nature of Sat has to be there for the experiences to dance upon it. And like a screen, which holds the support for all the changes, but by itself is not affected by the changes. I meditate upon the Atma, the Satchit, upon which all changes reside on, but by itself is not affected by those changes. I also meditate upon the nature of the Atma as a screen which is based on constant knowledge. Just as a screen is the basis of figures being born and disappearing, similarly the nature of the Atma as Chit, constant knowledge in the form of I know, I know, I am, and I know. So the Atma as a screen, which is the nature of I know, is endowed with an unchanging light of knowledge, upon which the changes in light, darkness, brightness is projected on. Similarly, in me, the knowledge of things, the ignorance of things can dance on without affecting the nature of the Atma, which is I know. I pray to Ishvara to give me the clarity that Brahman, the very nature of Ishvara, is none other than the Atma that I am, as the Kutastha, anvil for the whole set of experiences in my life. May I meditate upon this fact. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Veda Vibhagine Vyomavatyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Dukarastvam Dakaro Vai Dukarastvam Nivartakaha Andhakara Nirodhitvat Gururitya Vidhiyate Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryan Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So we will complete Raj, one thing we found out is that it turns off after a few seconds. I don't know how that happens. So we have to redo it. I wonder if there is a setting in it or something. Yeah, right now it's on, but I would say maybe about in 10 minutes or so, it turns itself off. And then we've discovered that in some of the previous classes, you have to press this button again to get this bluish reading on top of that.
Blue light, sorry.
Yeah.
Here. There's a blue light over here.
Yeah, the blue light.
Over here, yeah. If this blue light is there light there?
It's visible on this side, but it stays on for a while, but then it turns itself off regularly.
That might be turning off, but...
And I think along with the turning off, the sound also disappears.
Really?
Yeah, that's what we found.
Okay. I'll have to test it then.
Okay. So today we will finish the Vaithatya Prakaranam, which goes up to verse numbers 37. So let us chant verses 34 through 37. Okay, and then we will quickly cover, I think we'll finish it today. They're all very similar. So starting with 34. न आत्मभावेन नानेदं न स्वेनापि कथञ्चन न पृथङ् न पृथक् किञ्चित् इति तत्त्वविदो विदुः वीतरागभयक्रोधैः मुनिभिर्वेदपारगैः निर्विकल्पो ह्यं दृष्टः प्रपञ्च उपशमोऽद्वयः तस्मादेवं विदित्वैनं अद्वैते योजयेत् स्मृतम् अद्वैतं समनुप्राप्य जडवत् लोकमाचरेत् निस्तुतिर्निर्नमस्कारः निस्वधाकार एव च चलाचलनिकेतश्च यातिर्यादृच्छिको भवेत् तत्त्वमादित्यकं दृष्ट्वा no तत्त्वम् आध्यात्मिकं दृष्ट्वा तत्त्वं दृष्टा तु बाह्यतः तत्त्वीभूतस्तदा रामः तत्त्वात् अपृच्छ्यतो भवेत् The Mandukya Upanishad is famous for basing the teaching on the analogy of the dream experience. So there are various analogies that can be used for doing viveka. Like a play versus real life, etc., etc. But in the final analysis, an experienced student, a sadhaka, must again and again invoke the example of a dream. And so this is the foundation of the Mandukya Karika. And it also signifies that there is no other aid, help for your teaching which is as good as thinking about the dream experience. Nothing. So much so that the Vedanta Acharyas, the Vedanta itself, has said that the dream experience is a very important creation of Ishvara. And so this should not be overlooked as we do. So as we become spiritually more educated, spiritually more experienced, in other words, as we become more mature. So the word maturity in English is a good one, really. So the maturity means that you look through your life also, you make sometimes silly decisions, silly reactions, you get into trouble, you get upset things and so on, and which is a sign of what would be called immaturity. Immaturity. And a sign of maturity is where you don't pay much attention to trivial things in your life, but you focus on the important things in your life. This is what maturity is all about. You disregard small things that occur and so on, and you keep going towards something which is really beneficial to us. This is what all maturity is. So in that sense, uh, overlooking dream is immaturity. Because it's feel, okay, I had a dream, and so what the big thing is. And in fact, the entire humanity disregards this is very important lingam, this important help for understanding the self. So the spiritual maturity, there's physical maturity where the body grows, and there is normal mental maturity where you don't get upset about trivial things, and you keep as you were mentioning, keep focusing on the long term. This is mental maturity. But there's also a spiritual maturity. And the spiritual maturity means understanding the presence of the large canvas which has been painted by Ishvara. Understanding the beauty of the creation. And one of the elements of the beauty of the creation is the creation of the dream. So the Mandukyaupanishad, which is so highly recommended for all the senior students, relies upon the dream as a very important experience, and one that we should pay attention to, not ignore it. Not ignore it. They say, for example, one of the signs of immaturity is that you don't appreciate what things are being done for you. Like a child, who gets the money for things, how it is done. You go on a vacation, they just enjoy it. There is no appreciation for how is it financed, how expensive is it, who earns the money. None of that is important, because they don't have the understanding, and they shouldn't. It's okay. But then suppose you have a 20-year-old child who overspends and doesn't really have an appreciation for the money. There's something wrong. They should have an idea of how the money is being earned, how hard it is to do, how hard it is to save. So this would be kind of like an appreciation for things that you overlooked before. I'm just going a little bit more on this dream thing before we come to the main topic. And so similarly here also, overlooking the importance of the dream as a central pillar for your understanding is immaturity. And really thinking about it every day when you wake up. Wow, what a creation. Because another thing one should appreciate is that finding the very, very amazing fact that I am the very adhara of the whole world is not easy for us to grasp. And we don't. Nobody has to say that it is difficult. We know it. This is an amazing thing. That the self, which is the very kutastha of the whole world, is not appreciated. I go around just ignoring Ishvara as myself. Just completely. And in spite of studying and so on, still it is very difficult to do. So it is very difficult. This is what Gita also says in Kathopanishad, Ascharyavat. This is such an amazing thing. that how to even talk about it, vadati enam, and one who even gets it's a very amazing thing. So it is very difficult. So unless we find kind of the right places to inquire into it, we are never going to be able to do this. And one of the places is to inquire into the status of the dream. And so the entire Mandukyaupanishad and also Gaudapadacharyaji's Karika is devoted to this. It goes around in lots of different places and so on, but the central vision is the avasthatraya, the three different states of my experiences and the dream and so on. And so in this this summarization of the second prakaranam, which is called Vaithatya Prakaranam. So the Vaithatya Prakaranam means, as you know, that the falsification of my experience of life. The falsification. It is false, but I don't appreciate it as false. How do I appreciate it as false? And the Shastra also knows it, it's difficult. So it gives you all these elements to think about. So this is the Vaithatya Prakaranam that we are finishing up. And here the very important, often quoted verse is number 32, which is na nirodhaha na cha utpattihi na baddhaha na cha sadhakaha na mumukshur naiva muktaha ityesha paramarthata. So here it means, really speaking, that all relative experiences, that I am baddha, I am limited, I am now free, I am happy, I am unhappy, all these kinds of things should be seen as being false. All changes on myself, just like you do when you are dreaming. So every time you should just bring in the example of the dream for doing that. So because that's our experience. Yeah, so I didn't quite complete what I was going to say. Let me just finish it. And that is that as it is, for me to see the falseness of this world is very difficult. Very difficult. Very difficult to do. And it is difficult, but it would have been impossible. It would be totally impossible if the dream was not a creation in my life. This is the point I'm saying. Ishvara also knows it. This is a gift of Ishvara. It's a jewel that we have that we don't really examine. And that jewel is the analysis of my own experiences vis-a-vis the dream every night. Several dreams. It's not just just an ordinary experience. It's a very important. I think I mentioned it to you that really speaking, for a sadhaka, a dream is more important than the real life. I mean, it's just opposite to our experiences. We think, oh, the dream is just a small thing, and the main thing is, who am I, what am I doing, what do I do, and so on and so forth. Sure, you do all of that. But the importance of the dream is that unless you dwell on the thinking about the dream's effect on you, you will never falsify your waking. Never. Not possible. It's a great gift by Ishvara. Anyway, that's how I feel. Really. Anyway, so this number 32 just says that all of these things in the final analysis don't mean anything. Don't mean anything. And really it's just, I mean, Swami Maheshananji also points this out again and again. I've been very blessed to really just think about his way of thinking and so on. He says, do you know how many families you've had in your life? Do you know how many spouses you've had? Do you know how many parents you've had? How many children? How many jobs you've held? It's not one, two, three, they are countless. Again and again we do the same thing, as though this is my whole life. The way we approach our families. And so here I'm putting some emphasis on families because even Swami Paramarthananda in his Ashtavakra Gita and all that also points out again and again that along with ahankara, mamakara is a great binding thing. It's a great sense of limitation. That I just sort of enclose some people in my life and those are reality. And I just go by that. And others I just completely forget about. And so Swami Maheshananji says this mamakara, which is my sense of reality about my family, my worries about my family, my attachment to the family members, and so on, seems so real. But he says, do you know what a transient thing it is? It's like a dream. It's like how many dreams you've had. In every dream you've had attachments. And you've got issues that you likes, and the important thing in the dream is that your likes and dislikes become very prominent. You're afraid of some things and you really are attached to some things. Exactly what happens in dreams. And so it is time, Swami Maheshanananda says, is that you have you need to do some duty and so on and so forth, but to see it as the reality, you're not doing yourself a justice. You keep forgetting that this is just an ongoing kind of a thing. And Swami Dayanand used to say that, and now I'm appreciating. At that time, I'm not sure that I really appreciated. He said, we have so many, this is the thing. We have lots of relationships in our life. And the way we value our relationships is how useful and how lasting they are in our lives. Like you meet someone and you talk for a while and so on and so forth, and then that person is gone. That person is not that important to you. But if you have certain family members that you are responsible for, then obviously and you should be attached to them to a certain degree because they are lasting with you. Your parents, your children, and so on, they last all the lifetime with you. But Swami Dayanand used to say one thing you should forget. You should remember that there is another person who always stays with you. Because as we have talked about it so many times, one of the most dear person in our life is our mother. As the next thing to the Ishvara is our moms. No one else can really replace it, not even a father. But the mother also is very limited, and most likely she is going to go before you do. And all you are left with is memories of the mother. She is not there, supposing you're 60 years old and you're having problems with your spouse and you want to divorce, and you wish you could talk to your mom, but the mother is no longer there. Who are you going to rely upon? So the mother and father and children and so on, they also are extremely limited. But there is one person which we do not recognize, which is Ishvara, who is your creator. And you ignore it First of all, you don't know anybody. You have a funny idea about God. And secondly, even after Vedanta explains it well, you still ignore it. You shouldn't. Shouldn't. And so the attachment to Ishvara, which is the attachment to reality. So anyway, going back to this, what's number 32? This whole topic starts with number 32. He says, na mumukshuhu na vai muktaha ityesha paramarthata. He says, one that knows this really understands the waking up of the whole thing. And then number 33 and so on. But now, we started talking about 34, so I need to speed up a little bit. So in 34, I think we did that a little bit. Na atma bhavena nana idam na svena api kathanchana na prithak na aprithak kinchit iti tattva vido viduhu. So it summarizes the nature of plurality in your life, duality in the life. So it says that by its very nature, all duality means all plurality. Plurality means a sense of limitedness. I am only this much, and others are different from me. This is not only your experience, because this experience will continue, but it also becomes your conclusion. There's a difference between experience and conclusions, knowledge. That the sun rises is an experience. And it will never go away just because you become a scientist. It's not as though for you the sun does not rise anymore. It will. So the plurality as an experience will still be there. But it is how you take it. So here it says, starting with number 32, na prithakva, etc. So number 34, it says, really all plurality is dreamlike. Dreamlike. It is not separate from you, is it? And neither is it the same as you. Beautiful example of a dream. So in a dream, is the dream completely separate from you? No. It is you. But is it you? No. This is a very strange thing. This is neither here nor there. This is the Maya Shakti. Excuse me. So the dream is neither a completely separate thing which bothers you. It is really just you. You are the one who created it. Neither is it really you, because at some point or the other it will go. This is the situation. Here Swami Maheshanji gives a very beautiful example. He says, look at this. The duality, sometimes, in fact, I need to clarify for the Gita class also, we talked about the higher reality and the lower reality, the higher self and the lower self. And the higher and the lower doesn't mean that I have two selves. No, that wouldn't make any sense. There's only one self. But my mind has a higher idea of a self and a lower idea of the self. So here Swami Maheshanji gives a beautiful example. He says, now look at this. The sun is there in the morning, during the day, for most people. But for an owl, There is no sun at all. In fact, so I need to really research this. I'm not too old. I'm not going to research it. But, how does the owl completely closes the eye? Because it is so sensitive to light that it cannot tolerate it, so it completely shuts it off. But during the night, where you and I see a lot of darkness, its eyes are so sensitive. Just like, sometimes when you shut the light off, in the beginning it is very dark, but slowly you find there is lot of light. Lot of light. You go to a new hotel to stay, and you're afraid that you won't be able to find where the bathroom is during the night. So you turn the light on. And I've learned this over with some experience, that you don't turn the light on in the bathroom, because if you just stay for a while, you find there is enough ambient light to really take you through. So owl does the same thing. So the owl example is a good one, because it is not that the reality is not there, but you don't see it. In fact, Swami Maheshananji says, do this. He says, do this experiment. He says, hey, you have two eyes, so close off one eye, okay, and open the other eye. And then with one eye you can see everything. And with this eye you do not see anything. So the reality be the same, but you have, sometimes it is there, sometimes it is not there. It is all a matter of how you look at it. So, and he gives this very important example, and I think I mentioned that last week also, but it is worth repeating again. He says, I find many of my students approach me, Swami Maheshananji is saying, and they say, Swamiji, all this you're saying just makes complete sense. I am with you. This Vedanta is just so wonderful, and so Swamiji feels very pleased that my students now get it. Then they say, but Swamiji, the thing is this, I have to lead my life. I cannot lead it with Vedanta, because others don't understand. You remember now that story has a new meaning for me. Once I understood this example by Swami Maheshananji, this other example came to me. You remember this guy who said that I am afraid of the cats. I'm a cat. And so his wife took him to a psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist says, okay, I can solve it. Then he's did all of this. Are you a cat? And he says, no. I'm not a cat. I'm a human being, because I don't mew like a cat. So then the wife also was very happy that finally this problem is solved. They had a nice lunch, puri aloo and this, that, everything was fine. Then he says, okay, shall we go out for a walk now? Now everything is, he says, no. He says, what? What's wrong with that? He says, I know. The psychiatrist helped me that I am not a cat, but how do I know that the dogs don't know that I am a cat? That we have to have another session with them. Is he going to talk to the dogs? He's not going to go out to the dog. This example, which I think was given by Swami Viditatmanandaji several years back, now makes much more sense to me in Swami Maheshananji's example. He says, Swamiji is exactly like this, honestly. Then look at this. He says, Swamiji, Vedanta is very clear to me. I am not a human being. I am the all-pervasive Atma. But I have to transact with other people. And they don't know I am the Atma. So, I still have to lie and cheat. That was the main thing. If you're in India, this is what happens. Through the corruption, people will say, I'm not going to be corrupt. I have to do this. But what can I do? There is people, I cannot get anything done without this. So Swamiji says, this is assigning an alternate reality to the Vyavaharika Sat. As though the Vyavaharika Sat means the transactional truth. That means corruption, giving somebody some money, getting things done which is not ethical, all that. This is what is called Vyavaharika Sat. So the Vyavaharika Sat and the Paramarthika Sat are both alternate realities. You see the point? They become alternate realities. Somebody says no. I won't admit to this. In fact, and he goes in, there are several pages devoted to this, on this, that in Vedanta, the Vyavaharika Sat is an aspect of Paramarthika Sat. It is not an alternate reality. You see, dream is not an alternate reality. Dream is just an aspect of my reality. It's the way I look at it. And it's a very important alternate aspect of my reality, because it is possible that I may close our eyes and not see the reality. This is what happens in the dream. And I give it certain importance, and then it disappears. So it's the possibility of disappearance, which is really this is the main result of the analysis of the dream, that it disappears. So similarly, plurality also will disappear. It will. Not as an experience, but as a conclusion. So this is what he's talking about. Meshanji, I just wrote it down in Hindi. He says, "Hey Maharaj," Maharaj means for Swamiji, "Hey Maharaj, आज संसार तो दिख ही रहा है ना, ये कब टूटेगा?" Means that the sense of plurality is there. How am I going to completely remove it? And Swami Maheshananji was saying, he says, there is and these are such false depictions of a person who has become a Mahatma. So he says that there is a publication house in India that paints the picture. I mean, these are all realistic things. Paints a picture of a Mahatma who is just sitting there, and there is dirt all around him. There's flies and so on and so forth, but he's just sitting there like this. This is the picture of a Mahatma. So Swamiji says, is this the picture of the Mahatma we want to be, that I want to be in the middle of the dirt? No, that's not what it is. That just means that I become oblivious to it, that it ceases to be an experience for me. It's just like saying that I will never become a scientist as long as I see the sun rising. Now, when is that going to happen? No. So the main thing is that you have to think about the conclusion and think about the fact that a sense of plurality is like a dream. There is no real plurality. In fact, all plurality is movie dancing on me, the non-dual. And the movie is not real. It is just something that is happening. And the more I think, this is the reality. And the only difference is that when you open your eyes after understanding, then the world does not have the same hold on you. Let it happen. It doesn't matter. It's just like a play. Let the sun keep on rising. It doesn't matter. I know inside of me that I'm unaffected. I'm the very screen on which this movie is playing. So that's that's the trend of these ones. Then so I think we're done with number 34. That we can see the English translation. This plurality does not exist as identical with the Atma, nor does it exist on account of itself. An object is neither different nor non-different from another, thus the knowers of reality understand. And I would say that linking it back to the sense of dream is a good way to understand this, as we've already done so. Then in number 35 is the result of gaining this understanding. So what happens is, so vitaraga bhaya krodhaihi munibhihi veda paragaihi nirvikalpa hi ayam drishtaha prapancha upashama advayaha. Some really good things here. Swami Maheshanji has given a beautiful explanation of all this. And several things. So let's look at the word raga. So raga means a firm desire, what would be called a binding desire is called raga. Okay? And the way a desire becomes binding is commented on, and really all the acharyas say all the same thing. We need to really get an understanding of what it is. So what it means is, Swami Paramarthananda also has discussed this in terms of the difference between preferences and firm desires. Good way to do that. Words of Swami Dayanand also the same thing. So preferences mean that you were born with certain, you're born in the South India. So in the very beginning you had dosa and idli. If you're born in Punjab, then it is parathas and so on. So if a jnani becomes an understanding person, doesn't mean that you will give up, you can eat anything, you'll start to eat meat or anything. No, preferences are still there. But there is a difference between a raga and a preference. And this is the important thing to see. How a raga becomes binding to us. And Swami Maheshananji points this out, is that the way it becomes is, suppose you have a good experience. You eat something, some new dish or something like this, and you enjoy it. This is not yet raga. Raga is to say, I hope we can do this again. Problems, problems, problems. So now you put a vasana in your subconscious mind that was a good experience and I want to repeat it. Problems. Because now thoughts will grow in your mind. When can we repeat it? And if I cannot do it, having some disappointments. This is the difference between Vitaraga and Raga. And so we, as Swami Viditatmananda also says very well, that really we enable the world to imprison us. We empower the world to imprison us. And the way we do that is have a false sense of what gives me pleasure. Instead of dwelling on myself as the very source of ananda, I am now deluded into thinking that this is the one that really gives me pleasure, and also I want it to give me pleasure. This is when I give it more power to bind me. And Swami Meshanji had given another beautiful example. He says, I don't know his history and so on, but he's originally from Marwar in Rajasthan. He's a Marwari. Really, I don't see many Mahatmas from that region. They must be, but he's from there. But he must have spent a lot of time in Calcutta. A lot of Marwaris actually became traders in Calcutta. And so he must have gone there because he was not a businessman himself. But his students might have asked him, and he may have spent a lot of time because he talks a lot about Bengali sweets. So he says one time, I still remember this example very well. He was sitting in Mount Abu, where he established his ashrama. So he had two ashramas, one in Mount Abu, which is the main one, and one in New Delhi. And I've been to his ashrama in New Delhi several times. Whenever I go there, I ask my sister to send me a car, and then I go there and I talk to some of the people. That one is not doing very well. It used to be in an isolated area, not very far from Mahatma Gandhi's Samadhi, but now the whole city has grown around it. And there's buses and traffic, and it's not good anymore. Anyway, going back to the story, Swami Meshanji was sitting in his ashram, and one of his students from Calcutta brought some fresh rasgullas directly from Calcutta. He said, Swamiji, I know you like these, so I brought these to you. Swamiji said, I enjoyed it, because rasgullas from Calcutta are the authentic ones, absolutely marvelous. Did I ever tell you a story? I think I might as well tell you an interesting story on rasgullas. So my wife and I, when I went back to India in 1971, having promised my mother that I will be back one day, I wanted to fulfill that promise. And so after 5-6 years, my wife and I were already married. Then we went back to India, and we never owned a home, but we sold our car and furniture and really made a sincere effort in 1970. I was working for IBM, and I was posted in Jamshedpur as a senior officer with IBM. And I had a huge bungalow with servants and all kinds of stuff. It was really something. Then after a few months, I started having health problems. My asthma came back, and my son also had asthma. Then IBM was being asked to leave the country because they would not give them the latest licenses. All kinds of problems happened. So my parents also said, go back. You fulfilled your promise. You're not feeling well here. I was always having cough and this, that, or the other. He says, Baba, go back. So I made a decision. I resigned from IBM. We used to go to this sweetmeat place where they made beautiful rasgullas. So one day, we had already decided we are leaving. My wife and I went to this owner of this halwai shop and said, we want to learn how to make rasgullas. So can you please help us? So the fellow said, what? I can't help you or anything, So we said, please, we'll give you 500 rupees. Please, so he says, okay, do this. Send your driver with the car tomorrow, and I will have my best cook come and please buy these things. So he said, have this ready, have this ready. And we were so excited. We had our paper and pencil and all ready to go. I still remember this. And we were selling our furniture there, and we were leaving. So this guy shows up. And he says, okay, all right, do this. Then then we did the flour, and we put some milk and some water and all those kinds of things. And he says, okay, this is how you make it, and it won't be ready for a while, but if you just make it like this, you'll be okay. It was the worst tasting rasgullas that I ever had in my life. And we were ready to leave. We could never really get it. And we learned that they will not give you the real secrets. They will always withhold. Most of it looked fine to me, and so after that we never made any rasgullas. That was it. So anyway, Swami Mahesharanji was sitting there one time, and his student brought some rasgullas for him. And in one of the books he says this. He says, the difference between raga and vitaraga is this. I enjoyed the rasgullas. This is nice. But I never had the feeling I would like to have this again. Whatever happens is fine. This is all prarabdha. Good things happen, I accept it. If bad things happen, this is also sent by Ishvara. We just go with it. And it's not that important. But what happens is, we construct an alternate reality. This is the key thing to see. And this alternate reality is kind of like, although you are building an edifice which is made out of your raga and dvesha. I want my life to be like this. I want people to be nice to me. I want my children to be respectful to me. This is all building an alternate reality. All the time, and the more you spend on building this alternate reality, the more busy you are, the more occupied you are, the more focused you are. Where is the time for you to discover your own self? You're so busy. And the interesting part of it is that it works for a while. It works. So in the talks by Ashtavakra Gita, Swamiji also points out that this is the key thing between attachment and love. We confuse between them. So if you have a family, then it is very important that you contribute towards their welfare. That's also necessary, because you have spent a lot of time in developing those relationships, and you should do that. But then to expect, as a result of your contributions, some results back to you is the alternate reality. So he spends a lot of time on discussing this as part of this verse number 35. And I'm giving you just a couple of examples, but the same thing is true for rag, bhaya, krodha, fears, and so on and so forth. I won't go into that. He comments on very interestingly, which I knew that before, but he points it out again. Munibhihi Veda Paragaihi. Munibhihi is an important thing to see. He says the following, very important thing to see. He says, Munihi is the one who is mananashila, who does some analysis, who thinks about it. And this is very appropriate in thinking about the dream as we saw earlier. You see, everyone experiences dreams, but those of us that can analyze it with our thoughts and place it at the proper position so that it can help in my life is a muni, is a mananashila. So it's not as though experiences are not given to everyone. But the one who can differentiate, oh, this is important, I better look into this, is a Muni. Then he says, Veda Paragai is very important. That means ones who are fortunate to learn from the Vedas. Where in the world are you going to understand the true importance of analyzing a dream? Where? Look around. How many intelligent people are there? How much science is there? Has anybody come up with this? Which is the truth. This is the very fundamental part of all human beings. Veda Paragai means this is where the Shruti is absolutely key. So we've already talked about this, that pure Tarka is not important. But Shruti Paratarka is very important. Where you should, it's not as though you should not think, you should think. But to think along the basis of where it is suggested. Otherwise you just waste your time in trivial things that don't mean anything. So that's why Munibihi Veda Paragai, he comments on this very well. And then, of course, the result of it is that then you begin to see that the Atma is Nirvikalpa. Nirvikalpa. And Prapancha Upashamaha. It is, and so here also this is also a very important thing to see. We will probably talk about this many other times. That Nirvikalpaha, and it's taken me also some time to really think about these things, read a lot, look at consistent readings from others, and then come up with, all this takes time. Because in the beginning, Nirvikalpaha means thoughtlessness, no changes, and so on. And it is not. Swami Maheswaranji explains this very well. And all the other so on. Nirvikalpaha means where you do not have unexplained disturbances, unexplainable disturbance, like a dream. Again, going back to the dream, very important thing. So just like you have the waking as a beautiful reality, because it is understandable. Yeah, you are the same person who went to sleep. And so today is Monday. Yesterday was Sunday. And yes, you are staying in the same bed. It's all understandable. The dream is very funny. One day you are in India, then the next moment you are in USA, then the next moment a tiger is chasing you, all kinds of nonsensical things that happen. So that means Vikalpaha. Vikalpaha means it is changing and non-explainable. Whereas Nirvikalpaha means one which is steady. Doesn't mean that it has no reality to it. So similarly here also, in understanding of the Atma, we often say this is Sakshi, this is Sakshi, this is Sakshi, which is true, it is Sakshi. That it is, I know, this is Sakshi, has no changes to it. It is true. But if you don't look at what Sakshitva means, you miss out the reality. If you understand that the Sakshi was never born, really? Just to see that. And it is the same Sakshi that had lots of different families in my previous life. And it's the same Sakshi that if you were to be born again, it will be the same person who will have brand new wives and husbands. To see the reality of that, which is not thoughtlessness, which is Satyam Jnanam Anantam, which is Satchidananda, understanding the very source of the Ananda, very source of the Sat, the implications of that. This is Nirvikalpa. This took me a long time to really understand this. Long time to understand this. And so one very good example of that is that this is the lower self and the higher self. That suppose you are watching a movie and you are so identified with the plot of the movie that you are actually suffering. You're crying and you're taking your handkerchief out and dabbling it and so on. And at the very next moment you say, oh my gosh, this is not me. I'm just enjoying this, enjoying the suffering of it. But I have something different from it. And then, so you almost have to remind yourself as to who you are. So supposing there is a person who's being tortured and this, that, or the whatever, there's some sad things, and you're crying. The next moment you say, thank goodness I am different. So when you say thank goodness I'm different, it's not thoughtlessness. You see, this is the important thing. See what I'm saying? When you recover from a identification with a movie and you go back to your own self, you should be reminding, oh my God, I'm healthy, I have a job, and I'm not being tortured. Thank goodness. So this is a whole storyline which is more real to you. You have to remind yourself of that. Similarly, the whole thing about Vitaraga Bhaye Krodhaihi Nirvikalpahi Ayam Drishtaha Prapancha Upashamaha. Prapancha Upashamaha means that all these disturbances that you have, which is called Prapancha, they're gone. I have a different reality to myself. So that's how it is. Anyway, let me just, I think, a few more minutes, we'll continue with this. Pretty much the same. Number 36. Tasmadevam viditva enam advaite yojayet smritam advaitam samanuprapya jaravat lokam acharet. I'll just quickly say it. So therefore, having known this Atma, one should fix the mind on the non-dual. Having attained the non-dual Atma, one should behave in the world like an ignorant one. And so what that means is that, so here also the Acharyas say that you need to have almost like two identities. So there is a difference where the dream completely disappears. You don't need to worry about any alternate realities after the dream disappears. And the waking up from the sense of duality in your life. Why? Because the experience of the dream will continue. Experience of the dream will continue. How? So that means that you will still have a different face to the world as to yourself. Outwardly, you should behave. Why? Because the world needs you. You have a place in there with some expectations. And so behave in the world as an ignorant one. See the understanding of this. What it means is that your behavior is as though you don't know yourself. But you know yourself. It's like supposing, you're watching a sunrise with your family and everybody says, wow, look at the sunrise. And you say, what sunrise? You're fools, there's no sunrise. How will that be? No. So you have to say, wow, what a sunrise. And just enjoy it. So that's the real meaning of Jadavat Lokam Acharet. Means you don't have to change any of that. It'll just continue on. And then the next one, Nistuti Nirnamaskaraha. And so here you mean that you don't worry about, you're no longer interested in whether people praise you or not praise you. They do namaskara to you. And oftentimes you find these Mahatmas, so these newly made swamis, these new swamis are very interesting people. Because what happens is it's very much like newly rich people. So the newly rich people are very interesting because they are still very insecure and they want to flaunt their. They say old money is they don't say anything, just stay quiet. So this new Swamis, Swami Maheshananji also says the same thing, that they sometimes complain to me and he says, people are not doing namaste to me because you feel that now I have become a Swami and people should bow to you. They should add the word Ji at the end. Swami Ji. So they complain that, what is this? People are not doing this to me. And what do I do for that? That's Swami Paramarthananda was giving this beautiful example. He says, do you think sannyasa is easy? He says, do you know the worry that some of these Swamis have? They've come to me and he says, Swamiji, I'm not getting enough bhiksha. How do I get enough bhiksha? I have to eat. Because you and I have no problem. We can always go to McDonald's and eat something. But no, the Swamis cannot do that. They have to be given bhiksha. And if nobody gives them bhiksha, they are very worried. So anyway, so this is what it is. It's Nistuti, Nis Namaskaraha, Nis Swadhakara Evacha, Chala Chala Niketascha, Yatir Yadrichiko Bhavet. So Yadrichiko Bhavet is the same thing as enjoying the rasgullas without wanting them again. So he says, whatever happens. You can just enjoy whatever happens. And instead of having expectations, I want my life to be like this, that becomes binding. So yadrichika is a very good word which is used in the Shastra very often. Means that spontaneity. Whatever happens is. Swami Dayanand used to have these cluster of 3 words that he often used this. And Swami Paramarthananda also employs the same one. It just reminded me of my time with Swami Dayanandji. So he says that there are 3 words that you should, 3 stages of your thinking that you should always think. So one is reactive. The second one is deliberate, and the third one is spontaneous. So the reactive means that, there's another word that he used for reactive, I'm forgetting that, but what it means is that without thinking, you just say something or you think something. Forget about saying something, but even somebody says something and your mind says this is not good. Why does he think I am? This is the reactive. Deliberate means after a long practice you say, person is justified in saying that. Maybe yes, there's some truth in it. and doesn't come to you, but you keep dwelling on the same point. This is deliberate. If you did this often enough, you become spontaneous. So that last one is yadrichikam. Whatever happens, you are okay with. In the meantime, we say, no, this is my agenda, my right to be like this. All right, suffer. What can we do? So, then the last one, tattvam adhyatmikam drishtva, tattvam drishtva tu bahyataha, tatvibhutaha tat aramaha, tas tattvat aprachyuta bhavet. So this is all nididhyasanam, and it takes a while for us to get to that point. And that means that I see that there is order in the whole world. Inside me, outside me, the world is going on. Ishvara, there is no mistake by Ishvara. Because we always, I wish it would be like this. I wish this would be like that. Why is it not like this? Why is it not like that? This is what drives us. As though we can, and then of course this gets magnified. That I'm going to reform the society. There's so much badness in there. Do what you can. But for you to take on the mantle that I am going to reform the society is going to stay what it is. Let Ishvara take care of it. This is another very interesting thing, that there's so much violence in the world. We need to do something. We should not be studying Vedanta at this point. We should be out there and so on. Hey, this world is too big. If Ishvara cannot change it, how am I going to change it? So do the best you can, but don't worry about it. And so there's an order outside and order inside. Let me focus on seeing the reality behind the order. And so that's how it ends, Vaithatya Prakaranam. And so with that, a composition by Gaudapadacharya G to translate the vision of the Mandukya in terms of what it really should imply in my life. And the implication that it should have in my life is that I should begin to see my experiences having certain false elements to it. I'm giving it a false reality. And how do I do that is really how this whole thing goes. So with this, this Prakaranam is over, we'll take up a new one next time. Om Swasti Prajabhyav Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaha Gobrahmanebhya Shivamastu Nityam Loka Samastha Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshatu Parjanyaha Prithvi Sasya Shalini Deshoyam Shogarahitaha Brahmana Santu Nirbhayaha Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhavet Asato Ma Satkamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityo Ma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. There are 2 minutes left for questions. 9:43. Yeah.
So I'm sorry I missed that when I had to go out. But when we were talking, I picked up this line, Vyavarika Sat is an aspect of Paramarthika Sat.
Yeah.
So when you are talking about that, is it same as A is equal to B, but B is not equal to A?
Yeah, something like that, yes. Correct.
That's what it
Yeah. I think that what it means is that we, by, by, by people approaching Swami Maheshananji and saying, Swamiji, all you say is correct, however, so he says magar in Hindi. So he says these are all magarmach people. They are, so that means that they have two realities. Then, you know, class is one thing, then I go, I'm going to do anything I want to, kind of like this. He says this is not a, this is only one reality, and the transactional reality should become part of it. Yeah, that's what it means. Yeah.
So it's interesting that we do have to play the game in this transactional reality, and at the same time keep that distance from affecting ourselves.
It's true.
We're not bound by that.
That's true.
We
Yeah.
have to keep remembering it is a game.
Yeah,
and,
it's true.
And have fun with it, basically.
Yeah.
So this is the interesting, subtle points that we need to continue to dwell into, because that is the world we're living in.
Yeah. So, sorry.
In the 36th verse, when you're saying Jadavat, so we can't be ignorant of the world, but we'd accept the world as it is changing.
Yeah, so Jadavat means here, yeah, no, that's exactly right. That one could be, this is where the non-understanding comes in, that the a wise person is physically unmoved. You know, people are hurling insults at him and he's smiling through. And this picture that he's surrounded by all this dirt and so on and so forth, that he's sitting there and so on. It's not what is being meant. You know, if somebody is insulting you, please insult him back, it's okay. But have an inner smile that you cannot really reach me. You're insulting my ahamkara. And sometimes I see this about Christ, we're saying, you're hanging my body, people. You're not going to affect me. So he knows his Atma very well. So Jadavat here means that it should be understood, Jadavat means one which is non-reactive, but it should be internally non-reactive. So there is an inner reality about myself, that even though when things are being said about me and things and so on and so forth, and I can behave it in a certain way, because supposing somebody insults me for something, okay, and I start smiling at him, and the person will say, "Are you mad?" So I should fight with him and say, "Why are you insulting me? I don't understand this. What have I done?" And so I can have an argument with him. That's no problem. So, but inside I feel, it doesn't matter to me. Whatever he wants to say is okay. So, but to react to, not to react, but to be spontaneously responding, avoiding the word reacting, responding to the world is okay. So that is really what is meant by Jadavat here. So this is where I think the language of the Vedanta is to be properly interpreted by wise people. Because if it is not done, then Jadavat means that as though I am a Patthar ki murti, you know. That's not what is being meant. Yeah. All right. Thank you. We'll see. I should say this, if you just have a minute. I'm going to send this out to some of you, not all of you. I received a call, I think I mentioned this on the Tuesday night class also. So there is a Swami, his name is Swami Swatantrananda. And he's the owner of the ashram next to Swami Dayananji's ashram in Rishikesh. So for those of you, if you just go to Swamiji's ashram, his is on the left-hand side, ours is on the right-hand side. And I've never met him. He's about 60 years old from what I understand. And the ashram people in Sailorsburg asked us to host him for a few days while he's going around looking at things. So he's going to be here on Monday, and he's leaving on Friday. So I'm going to pick him up from the airport, and I think the best thing would be for him to stay in a hotel. And so I've already asked Sailorsburg, and they say that's okay. So what I'm going to do is to ask for some help from you. I know there's so much going on along with Aim for Seva and so on and so forth, but this is Ishvara just sent him to us. What can we do? And so I would ask for some kind of a program where we can all help out in some way. I might also take him for some sightseeing myself. I've just written to him asking for what would you like to do. I've not heard back from him. So I'm actually teaching in GTU in the absence of Swamini on the morning of Monday the 16th, and I'm done by about noon. So I will pick him up from the airport, and then I will ask Madhu to make a hotel reservation for him in Milpitas, so he can stay there. And then we can find out where will we eat and what he'll do. We'll figure that out. So I'm going to send that email to you in a few days.
You mentioned that he speaks Hindi only, is that right?
He spoke Hindi to me on the... No, he speaks English.
Okay.
He speaks English,
Okay.
but he did speak Hindi on the phone to me. So I don't know what his mother tongue is. I don't know yet.
So any lecture by him or anything like that?
This is the part I don't know. Probably not. Probably not. I think we might bring him on the Tuesday night class and have him say a few words. But nevertheless, I think he'll be an interesting person to, because he's a Swami and he lives in Rishikesh, he knows Swami Dayanandji. Well, you could have a lot of insights into how things are happening and so on and so forth. So we can do that. But I don't know that whether he's giving any lectures or not. Okay? Okay, thanks.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, next week I have house guests at home.
Okay.
What I can do though is I can take him out for dinner or bring him over
Okay.
for dinner or something one